Mike, turn your games down.
I'm doing a very special episode today. We are celebrating a birthday, but not just any birthday. We're celebrating the Xbox 360 turned 20 years this year. So that's what you're going to hear us talk about on Games My Mom Found. And who is with me to talk about achievements? Only achievements.
I'm Michael Colby, and I have my headset, and I'm ready to pay for online gaming.
It was worth it.
And this is Ron here, joining to talk about weird games from the 360's early life cycle that nobody remembers.
This is Kyle, and guys, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can actually do this podcast anymore. I have a red ring of death.
You know, let's that be our first topic.
Sure.
Let's talk about the Red Ring of Death. So, I mean, memories. But this whole episode can be nothing but memories. Yeah. But the Red Ring of Death, I got it. I have a fun story with that. I actually got a Red Ring of Death, but not exactly on my 360. When my girlfriend at the time, who lived with me, was leaving me, her new boyfriend bought her a 360 and shipped it to her. And I was playing on it, Devil May Cry 4, and for some reason it red ringed it, so that I kept playing it. Like, I restarted, and I killed the 360 completely, and she was so mad at me. Well, I didn't give a shit, we were breaking up. But that's my story of the Red Ring of Death. Anyone else?
Actually, I would say that considering all of the faults of the 360 and kind of like just what it was as hardware and all the other things with it, I'm actually pretty damn lucky with my story of the 360 because I've literally only received one red ring of death, and that wasn't even because of any of the what quote unquote like typical reasons of a red ring. Like, I never got it because like my thing overheated or anything like that, or like, you know, like the apparent like typical reasons why you get a red ring. What happened to me was I didn't realize that when I was playing on my 360, then like I turned it off for a few hours and I came back, and I think maybe I pushed or pulled my 360 console a little bit, and somehow that accidentally unplugged the power cable a little bit, and my 360 got a red ring from that, and I freaked out. I was like, no, I got the red ring of death! And then, like, my brother, who, you know, this was back when he was a lot meaner to me, called me, like, an idiot, and it's like, no, you idiot, and he checked, and yeah, like, the power cable was a little unplugged, and that was literally the only time I ever got a red ring of death. And it wasn't even because of, like, the actual reason. Like, I didn't get, like, the typical red ring. Like, it just all red ring. Like, it was a full, like, all four lights red ring instead of, like, the weird blinky one that most people got.
I had 4 Xbox 360 consoles. I think they expanded the warranty to like 18 months or something like that. And within that time, I got 3 red rings of death.
Oh no.
I remember them being very generous with the warranty too.
Once it was a problem, they extended the warranty, and I had 3 red rings, and then my 4th console went for a long time. It went into the PlayStation 4, so I wasn't worried about it. And my mom gave it back to me like a year ago, and I turned it on and it worked for like 2 months, and I was like, hell yeah, I can play all these 360 games again. And then that one red ring.
Oh no.
So right now I have a Slim hooked up, and that one is supposedly not gonna get the red ring. But
later models are good.
The Slims are like apparently much better built. Like they just like the hardware on them is better, and like it's also made better where like the issue that would usually cause red rings isn't like isn't a situation with the Slim models. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's 4 consoles. I think it really speaks to the games, though, that they had that big of a problem and still everybody had the console because the games were that good.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. The reason why the red ring of death happened was because on the console board itself, there's these like little connectors that have these like metallics that when the board heats up, they actually soften. And the issue was when they made them, those little connectors weren't made correctly. So when the console cooled down, those connections would break.
Oh.
And when those broke, that's what would cause the red ring. That's why if you guys ever heard about the thing where someone wrapped a bunch of towels around their
I was
360
gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
and it fixed it because you wrap the towels around it. So essentially it traps all the heat in, remelts those connection points, and then they reconnect.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never knew that's what did it. I just knew it was a option because my friend, he did that with his 360. He had it wrapped up in a blanket.
Yep. And that's why that worked. And then when they made later models, they made those connections correctly and like better, so that didn't happen. And that's why later models don't have that issue.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Nice. That's awesome. So that's the big mystery. I'm glad that like people found out about what that was, and like I'm glad that like like it's not just some like, oh, I don't know, guess it's just a thing, like people found the mystery out, like thank God. Like good.
Like it's a thing that basically exists on like all or most motherboard or like system boards at the time. It's just if they were manufactured correctly, the softening and the cooling down and hardening wouldn't be an issue. It's just with the 360s, they weren't made quite right, so it was.
Yeah, I know that there was one like I don't think it was like a model, but my friend who fixed like computers and video game consoles, and he's the one who modded my original Xbox, was like, oh yeah, you have to look at the serial numbers, and there were certain serial numbers that started with I don't remember exactly what it was, but like there was one model of the original Xbox 360 that didn't red ring because it was made right.
Yep.
But the rest of them weren't.
Yeah. And I think
360.
I think with this whole red ring topic, like something about the 360 that's always kind of irritated me, but it's also kind of amazing, is like this 360 has so much against it as hardware, where like, like there was all the whole red ring of death thing, and like how I guess how poorly made the original like models were. And it's also like, man, those consoles are fucking loud as hell. And like, I just feel like the console has so much going against it, but somehow it still managed to be such a huge seller, and like the video games on it are excellent, and like it just like, man, I feel like the console has so much working against it, but it still somehow manages to just kick ass. Like it just like even the controller had issues too. Like the D-pad on that thing is garbage, but like man, this thing still fucking rules. It's still great. Like it just owns. Like it's amazing how much this thing has working against it, and it still manages to just dominate and be incredible.
Well, I mean, the main reason is they kind of had two things going for it that, like, essentially cemented. One, they got a year head start on the PS3. That was big, and also during the 360 era, Microsoft actively worked with developers to make sure their system was easier to develop on, because you can find parts of developers being like, oh yeah, it was great working on the 360. We would need a feature from Microsoft, and we would ask them about it, and then in like a week they'd be like, oh, here's the feature for you, in terms of like SDK and stuff. And so those two things was just like there was a year where even though the 360, it was kind of just like sort of like slightly upgraded PS2, but it still looked noticeably better. They just had a year where nothing looked like them, and developers were happy to work with Microsoft. And by the time the PS3 came out, they were just cemented in place.
Oh, totally. And it's still like, even for what that console was, like games still managed to look great on it. Like there's so many great looking games for the 360, and it still managed to actually run a lot of those games like pretty damn well. Like, man, like I feel like if you want to like study video games, as much as that may sound a little goofy, or like, oh, how do you study video games? Well, like, if you wanted to ever teach courses about video games, like the 360 is practically, it should be its own term, a school year of just like, this is how you run a console. Like Microsoft putting so much like effort into it, and it just like it's there's so much to why the 360 ruled, and it's just like, oh yeah, Microsoft actually putting so much effort into everything. Like they really went the full mile. They really did everything they could to make sure like developers could use this hardware properly and everything. Like just Microsoft at that time period just really pushing everything to the limit.
We can't just praise Microsoft for how much they won. We also have to talk about how Sony shit the bed.
Yep.
At that point in time.
Oh God.
It was a perfect storm of the 360 rules. I'm not saying the Xbox 360 doesn't rule, because it does.
No,
but
of course.
It was also the perfect storm of Microsoft or Sony trying to come out with a $500 console at that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was impossible to develop for and had like a bunch of weird problems of its own.
Yep.
And then taking away the backward compatibility, and like you said, it was a year behind. So like, yeah, there was a lot going for the 360.
Oh, yeah.
And even at the time too, when like people like Sony could say, "Oh, but it's also a Blu-ray player." But like, yeah, but at that time period, I'm pretty sure you could get a Blu-ray player that was cheaper than that. Like for $500 to $600, especially if we're talking in like Canadian prices. Like, that's so much money.
And also, I mean, the Blu-ray format as a format ultimately failed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, Blu-rays are around, but like you can go into a Walmart and still buy DVDs.
Yep. True.
So it's Blu-rays never gained that traction, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that like Blu-ray wasn't the leap in technology that DVD compared to VHS was.
Oh, totally.
You know, just what DVD did as opposed to Blu-ray. It's like, well, yeah, it's undeniable. Like Blu-ray is kind of like, well, yeah, it's high def and it looks better, but most people don't have TVs that can truly take advantage of it. So it's like, okay. I mean, for a recent example, how people were laughing about, you know, those side by side comparisons of a PS5 and a PS5 Pro, where they had to like zoom in super close for anyone to even notice. And and it's kind of the same thing there, where it's like, well, most people aren't even going to notice, so why would they switch?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. So now, to be fair, that's not to say that Microsoft's HD DVD format
wow
went anywhere. That actually lost to Blu-ray. It's just Blu-ray never beat DVD.
Yeah.
I have a theory about why HD DVDs, because technically HD DVDs were better. They were less expensive. I don't think a lot of people take form factor into account when they're talking about stuff like that. If you look at a Blu-ray case, those Blu-ray cases are one of the most beautiful blues you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
HD DVDs were one of the ugliest maroons you've ever seen. And I don't know if it was subconscious or what, but I think that the color of those cases played into why Blu-rays won.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people wanted them in their houses on their shelves because they looked horrible.
Mm-hmm.
They also didn't. I mean, I forgot they even were maroon because they didn't last long.
No, yeah, the cases were like this ugly maroon red color, and I think subconsciously people were like, "Oh, these Blu-rays look nicer."
And of all the colors to base your cover off of maroon, I mean, nothing with the name maroon is good. Maroon 5 sucks. Maroon is used as an insult for people like the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Oh, what a maroon! Like nothing with the name maroon is good.
Yeah.
Even the color, like there's so many better shades of red than maroon. Yeah. Like, man, that's so sad.
Yeah. I don't know. I went to design school, so like I always think of stuff like that, and I'm always, people are like, oh yeah, HD DVDs, and it's like, just like Betamax was technically better than VHS, but I mean, that was a porn thing, but like, it was sort of the same thing. Like the superior thing failed for like a weird reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
not where I expect this conversation to go. But all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole other topic involving video formats in history.
No,
it's interesting, but kind of outside. But kind of outside of what we want to talk about here.
Of course, yeah, the 360. Anyways,
I feel like the next topic we should go into is something that was revolutionary for the 360, the Xbox Live Arcade system.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it was. It was the first storefront that I remember where it was fairly easy to just go online and get games to play.
Yeah.
I very distinctly
yeah.
remember, being like, "Oh, cool! I can get a re-release of Castlevania Symphony of the Night on here, so I don't have to hook up my PS1 just so I could play Symphony of the Night on it."
Yep, you sure
And-
can. And that was
Yeah.
that was the game that they're like, oh, they're gonna let us put Symphony of the Night on here. Yeah, I guess the games can be more than a gig because
Yeah.
that was the game that changed that
Yeah.
rule.
Oh,
That's
totally.
hilarious.
What's even more funny about Symphony of the Night on 360, it's a different version than the original, and not like that weird Saturn stuff. How the difficulty works in that version and the subsequent releases is different than the original.
Mhm.
They're actually noticeably easier than in the original, which is a weird thing for them to tweak, but it is.
No, I don't think it's weird because I think by
Yeah.
that time they were like games were easier. Like
Yeah.
people were
For sure.
people weren't
think-
weren't as concerned about like making their games artificially longer by making them harder.
Oh, totally.
People were used to being able to beat the games that they bought.
Plus, this was for a whole new generation of like gamers. Like, I imagine for like younger players too. This is a good way to kind of get them going. Like let's maybe make it just a little easier. Which I don't know. Like I actually kind of get. Like I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like I get what
totally
they're
get it.
going for. And
Yeah.
really just the Xbox Live arcade market in general. Like just so many kick-ass games. And like I think something to go along with the Xbox Live arcade topic is just like how easy it was for the 360 to go online. Unlike the Dreamcast the Dreamcast or the PS2 where you had to get like a certain peripheral to go online, like 360 was just like, no, just plug the internet cord into, plug the cord into your console and then just test your internet, make sure it works, and then you're online and just, click the button to go to Xbox Live and then go to the market and then, just pick your games out and, either get your credit card or get your points cards or whatever. And like, it was so easy to just do all that stuff.
Yeah. To be fair to the Dreamcast, you didn't need a peripheral to plug the Dreamcast into the internet, but it was like a regular telephone cord.
No, of course.
And
True,
you
true,
couldn't
true.
buy stuff. There was no
Yes.
storefront or
No,
anything.
no,
But
no,
it
no.
was you did have to have a peripheral for the piece for
Yeah.
the PlayStation 2.
Yes.
But it was native on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
It just sucked.
Yeah.
But speaking of Xbox Live Arcade games, I don't remember Dust and Elysian Tale.
Yes.
Yes.
Does
I have a
anybody
friend
remember
who was
playing?
obsessed with Dust.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me and my niche because I love fighting games. But did anybody spend like fucking hours and hours and hours on like Street Fighter 2 Turbo on Xbox Live Arcade? Because my God, the amount of like voice chats I had with people while playing that game and like my old fighting game buddies from like when I was a teenager and just oh my God, the times people would play like Sagat matches as Sagat and just be cheap as hell, or play like my friends who were good at like the friends I had who were good at Street Fighter and can play as like Balrog, or I know now a lot of the bosses are just called descriptions like Boxer, Claw, Dictator, because like the Japanese version of different names and everything. But like the amount of people who would be like the amount of people like my friends who are good Street Fighter players who could play as Boxer and just kick your ass as Boxer, like oh my God, like the countless hours I'd spent playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo on Xbox Live Arcade. Oh man.
That I never did. But just like to think about, like, that's how we get some of the games that we've talked about on the show before, like Limbo,
totally.
for example, is one of the big games that came out. I mean, the Xbox Live Arcade was just so unique at the time.
Yes.
It's also the beginning of being able to really have cheaper games released. Like, you had $5, $10 releases.
Yeah.
I remember buying just garbage because I'm like, ooh, I can get achievements out of this. Like, I bought so many games. I never played that. And, it was amazing what the Xbox Live Arcade was.
Mm.
But I mean, and speaking of achievements, just how that completely changed the entire gaming landscape and how people approach games.
Mm.
because that feature when they debuted it, they were just like it really wasn't something that they even emphasized. They were just like, oh hey, remember those times when like people would brag about doing things? Well, we're just gonna have this little system where you can be like, oh hey, look, I've got this achievement, I can prove I did the thing. And it just completely changed gaming in general. I mean nowadays, like, you have games where an important part of their design process is what are the achievements we're going to have,
Yes.
what kooky weird things are we going to have as a hidden achievement for people to get. Whereas before that, like, that wasn't a thing that developers did because they didn't exist. And it's so funny because it was almost like when Microsoft talked about it, it was like a throwaway thing. They were just like, yeah, whatever, like, it's just a neat little like score, it's just points. It doesn't mean anything, you can't get anything. It's a little thing we put in.
Yeah.
And it had this massive impact that just like, it completely changed how people approach gaming. I mean, there are people who, people who nowadays they buy games and then they're like, oh, I'm got to get all the achievements. I got 100% platinum in it. And before that, like, no one really cared.
Wasn't the thing.
It honestly like changed the ways people play. A lot of people play video games. Like,
Yeah.
I think more gamers came into fruition because of achievements. Like, that became their lifeblood as a gamer. Like, just like, oh, I gotta get the achievements. Like, I just got it. That's my mission. Like, I'm gonna get the achievements. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
and the fact that I'm not even an achievement junkie, but I totally get why people are achievement junkies. For one thing, like, the sound that plays when you get an achievement, that gadunk sound, like, that's such a good sound. Oh, that's so good. Like, you work your ass off to get this thing and you just hear that and you're like, fuck yeah. Like, I did it. And just, well, and the fact that, like, achievement hunting became such a lifestyle in gaming that, like, we have, like, stuff like retro achievements that, like, people have spent, like, countless, like, unpaid hours to go back to old retro video games, like go back to like Super Mario Brothers and Castlevania on the NES and Legend of Zelda, and like people made programs to make retro achievements, like, oh, get all the hearts in Zelda, or I don't know, get a triple shot in Castlevania. Like, the fact that, like, achievement hunting has become such a thing in video gaming that, like, people went back to old video games and made achievements for them. And, like, the amount of, like, retro achievements that exist in gaming, like, God, like, it's amazing just how much of a freaking thing that became in gaming and how popular it still is. Like,
it changed everything.
19, 20 years later, and people are still fucking crazy about achievements in gaming. Like,
so I have a story with that, because I was an achievement whore, and my buddy had a modded Xbox, and he came over and he brought his 360. I had my 360, and he's like, "Hey, I want to play online." I was like, "Oh, sure, you play yours. I'll play this one." And I had a memory card, so I could move my profile over. Because they had already did a thing where they had locked the 360. That's how I found out that if you put your profile on there, they corrupt it.
Oh, no.
I was pissed because I couldn't recover it. Because I did recover it, but it took me about a month because when I made my Xbox Live account, I misspelled my email and never realized it. So when I was trying to recover my account, I was like, "This is the right account," and it took a while. And someone had to call me from Microsoft, and they helped me get my account back. But I ended up replaying games I had already beaten just to get the achievements on them again. Like, that's how much I loved achievements.
Ugh.
Colby, you were not an achievement whore?
I was a little bit, but like, just like now, it's not. I'm never going to play a game that I'm not enjoying just to get the rest of the achievements. Like, the first game that I ever, we talked about it already, but when Symphony of the Night went onto Xbox Live Arcade, I was like, all right. And then I looked at the achievements. I'm like, I can get these. I was going to do this stuff anyway. So, like, yeah, I have a bunch of like platinums and 100% games, but it's never, I would never play a game that I didn't want to. Like, one of my funniest achievement things is I have all of the Avatar: The Last Airbender achievements except for one. No, I have them all except for one, and it makes people so mad because I was like, I'm not having fun playing this game, so I'm not gonna like do this extra thing. And it makes people so mad that I'm missing that one achievement. I think it's
Why would anybody care?
I don't know, but it's like you played this game to, that's notoriously easy achievements, and you stopped. I think it's like an OCD thing when you wouldn't, because I wouldn't get that last one.
I mean, it would bother me for me personally, but I don't give a shit what someone else does. But then again, maybe I care less about what other people do and like stuff like that. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, let me tell you something about a lot of humanity, Mike. They care about what other people do.
Yes, they do,
Fair.
and it's weird.
That is a fair thing. No, achievements ended up like making me fall in love with games more. Like, it would get me to play things I might have never played otherwise and do things in games. Like, one notorious achievement that affected the way I played a game, Dead Space, the one gun achievement for using only the plasma cutter. I have now only ever played Dead Space with the plasma cutter, and I cannot change that fact. I don't want to, because that is the best gun in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times
is how I play.
A lot of times, the first gun that they give you, if you can mod it up, is always the best gun in the game.
That's how I play that game now.
Oh, yeah, it was a 360. Got like a ton of games, even like weirder ones that like you couldn't really find anywhere. There was an old vehicle combat game called Full Auto. Not sure if anyone remembers that at all.
I know what you're talking about. Yes,
kind of.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Never played it, but I own it.
I played it. It is like. It's like, hey, do you miss Twisted Metal? Here's like a bad version of it.
Oh shit! Ouch! Damn.
And I guess apparently there was a sequel.
Yes, 360 for me was the era where I just started buying tons and tons of garbage, and I don't regret it at all at that.
And honestly, if you're talking about 360, I don't think you can avoid talking about the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, because
avoid talking about the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion?
I'll gladly avoid it. I 1,000 pointed it though, by the way.
But the thing is, like, that was because it was either launch or near launch with the 360, and I distinctly remember Oblivion on the 360 always being on the top on like the sales charts for just months and months on the 360's life cycle.
That's fair.
It was definitely a like milestone for console stuff, but man, it's not a good RPG. Like,
no.
They had been doing stuff on like computers that are better than that for years. The fact that it came out on console was why it was such a big deal. Like, people who never like played anything on a PC, they were just like, oh my god, this is the most amazing game I've ever played. And it's like, it probably was, but like, there are plenty of games that are way better than Oblivion, but for a console thing, yeah, it's blown people's minds.
We didn't know any better.
I totally get that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Oblivion. I did 1,000 point it back then, but I haven't touched that game since, and I have little to no interest to ever play it again. Even though it would do good in this podcast, and people probably would talk about it with me, I have zero interest. Like,
yeah, I think I had like 2 Oblivion gates to open, and I was like, I cannot open another Oblivion gate. That shit is so boring, and it sucks.
The 1,000 point isn't that hard, Ashley, for that game. You just do the main story. You just do the main story and a few other things. It wasn't that bad, Ashley.
You get to be the bestest red shirt in the world.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The main storyline had you opening up like 19 Oblivion gates, and it was the same exact thing over and over again.
Was it that long?
And that game fucking sucks.
Huh. I feel like it wasn't that long.
It's not that many. It is repetitive. No, it's a red shirt because the actual plot for the main story in Elder Scrolls 4, it's funny because your character is decidedly not the main character of that story. You do every unimportant task that needs to get done while everyone else goes and does the cool stuff.
I mean, it's still a landmark video game, but it's like, yeah, I do not care for it tonight.
Yeah,
do not.
Like,
I've still never played Skyrim, so I know that's a good game.
You're not missing that much.
I played Skyrim. It's fun, but I don't know. Like, I'm just like, yeah, it's fun. That's kind of about it. I never really had an interest in any of the other Elder Scrolls games. Sorry, that's just like, this is kind of my voice on the subject matter. Like, just, I don't know, a lot of those earlier games just really didn't interest me. I was also very picky as a younger gamer. Like, I just, RPG stuff always looked super dense and hard to understand for me, and it wasn't until I was much older that I was like, oh, I think I do actually like RPGs and stuff. Like,
I mean, this was the system to have if you didn't care about RPGs, because there aren't any really. Well, there's a couple.
yeah,
I mean, you're gonna pretend like Blue Dragon doesn't exist?
No, I was actually about to mention Blue Dragon. There's Blue Dragon, there's Lost Odyssey, and there's Enchanted Arms.
yeah, Blue Dragon fucking
Don't even bring up Enchanted Arms around me. I can't stand that game.
I've never actually played it very far. I bought it. I mean, there's also Last Remnant and a few other games, but like Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey were the big ones because they were made by Miss Walker. That
I never played Blue, but like Enchanted Arms, that game has one of the most annoying characters I've ever seen in a video game. It is there's this one, I can't remember the name, but it was so off-putting that I could not play the game. There's this one character who is so like stereotypical flamboyant homosexual guy that it's honestly off-putting. It's to the point where it's just like, oh my god, guys, really? Like he's got the act.
Yes.
But like he's even for that time, how ridiculous this was off-putting.
I'm not surprised.
This
it was
just another one of these Final Fantasy games that they don't call a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, Enchanted Arms wasn't made by Square or anything.
And
Odyssey is what Final Fantasy 13 should have been had Square made it.
Hey, don't, Final Fantasy, well, okay, I like Final Fantasy 13, but I think I wound up with some Stockholm Syndrome on that game, because I remember when that came out, and I've never been that big of a fan of Final Fantasy games in general, but I was like, oh, I got my 360, and they're putting a Final Fantasy on it. It was a big deal at the time. And I wound up, like, I told myself, I'm like, oh, this has to be because they've always been, because until that one, it's like, oh, they're all great, they're all amazing. So like I started playing it. At first I'm like, man, this is kind of boring and not really going anywhere. I put it down after like 10 hours. So I put it down for a while, played other stuff, and then I picked it back up again, had the same thing happen, and then like I put it down, tried it again, because I kept telling myself like, oh, I want to get through a Final Fantasy game. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna force myself to play longer than that. So I got to the parts where it does get actually good. And so overall I like the game, but it's like, if anyone's like, yeah, I couldn't stand how long it takes to get anywhere, I'm like, yeah, I agree with you.
I did like 13. It's not the best.
Well, it's too bad that it takes so long to really get good, because I do think once the game opens up and it starts really getting into the nitty-gritty of how the combat works and what they're actually going for, it is really good. It's just it takes so long to get to that point. And because of that, anyone was like, and people talk about how it's like a hallway. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, I like the characters, but I could see why people wouldn't. So it's too bad because the combat, like what they were going for, where it was more, it wasn't about necessarily like individual commands. It was more about controlling like the flow of the battle. And when you started getting into where you could start like manipulating the ATB gauge and all that stuff with it, and switching the stances. And that was also the first game I remember where they had this stun thing where you could stagger guys to deal more damage. There was cool stuff you could do with that. But like I said, you have to play the game for like somewhere between 10 and 15 hours before it really starts to get good. And it's like, yeah, dude, like, come on, you can't. If someone's like, yeah, I played it for that long and I didn't want to play it anymore, it's understandable.
Oh, I mean, I beat it. I actually want to replay it someday for this podcast. I haven't gotten around to it.
And so I played that, and like I said, I forced myself to like it. And then I played 13-2, which I remember liking, but I've never really gone back to.
Good game.
Yeah. 13-2, I remember the plot just gets like weird. So I know you're like going around you're like going around to Sarah, and there's the one guy in the baggy pants who for some reason reminds me of Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and you capture monsters like it's Pokemon. But like there's like this whole thing where you're like at the end of time fighting this guy. Like, it's been so long, but I remember liking it. And there's a whole thing where like you beat the game once, but then you're supposed to go back to all these different points and either do things you couldn't before, do things different to unlock different endings. And kind of the whole point is you're supposed to unlock all these endings, which I never did.
No, I'm assuming most people didn't. To go back to the other RPG, I want to mention like Blue Dragon. I have not played Blue Dragon in a really long time, but I want to. It's one of those games that's unfortunately trapped to the 360 and never been re-released in any shape or form.
Actually, speaking of a 360 RPG that is fantastic, and if there was ever a re-release or a remake, I would buy it in a heartbeat, is Eternal Sonata.
Yeah.
That
Blue Dragon and Eternal Sonata both kick ass.
I forgot about. I've never actually played Eternal Sonata. I own it. I own multiple copies of it, but I've never played it.
Eternal Sonata is a game that's worth tracking down. It is such an it has such a fascinating world. It's a game that also like you get a classical music history lesson.
Yep, because it's based on a musician.
Yeah, well, because basically the whole premise is the musician Frédéric Francois Chopin, the famed pianist. He's on his deathbed, which is a thing that happened in his life. He died of pneumonia. Spent a lot of time bedridden, which, by the way, the game goes over in great detail about. That's why I know about it. And what's also really cool is the game goes into great detail about his songs. There's actually parts in between the chapters where there's one of his songs playing, and they're doing essentially a music analysis about like what was going on in his life when he wrote the song and who he was associating with. And in the manual for the book, there's a full page given to the guy who played those songs. And the guy who did it is this like world famous pianist who was like at the time like known as one of the best ever. But like the plot of the game, like Chopin's on his deathbed, and he's like in a coma like state because he's like sleeping all the time, and he finds himself waking up in this fantasy world in which people who have magic are terminally ill. So everyone who has magic is sick and going to die. But also this world, everyone and everything is named after musical terms. So like one of the first characters he meets is this young girl named Polka. And then there's these two little awesome like gobbo children. Well, they're not goblins, but they act like it. Called not beat and jazz. It's a salsa and waltz. And then and there's a young boy named Jazz. And even all the towns are like and they dig like super. There's terms where they talk about like I think it's retardando, like all sorts of stuff, and it's really fascinating to just see how they did that. And a big part of the plot is about how like Chopin, like he's just like, oh, I'm just in a dream, none of this matters, but he's meeting all these people and all these things are happening, and at some point like they're like, well, if we're all just a dream, like what's the deal with us like existing? And so like, is it really a dream or not? It's really cool. And the combat is a lot of fun. It's a mix of like real time and turn based, where the characters take turns, but when they act, they have a set amount of real time in which they can do stuff like move, attack, do combos.
Maybe I'll have to check this out then one day. Now I know someone that want to talk about it. So,
I've been trying to give myself an excuse to play Eternal Sonata again because I even have the strategy guide for it. And yeah, I'm like, it's such a neat game. I'm not even. It's one of those games where it's just like, even if you're not that big into what it talks about in terms of musical history, it's just interesting to essentially see a game where someone's like, yeah, we're just gonna do a deep dive on this dude's life and what he was doing, and it's gonna be and it's gonna be part of this whole thing with this fantasy RPG.
All right, Colby, do you have any games you want to mention?
I thought we were talking about the 360, not RPGs. Good lord, this
not what I expected either.
This is not the console for talking about RPGs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm sorry, guys. I'll bring up Gears of War.
Yeah, I know.
That's a 360 game that launched the 360. I mean, didn't launch it, but played a huge part in it.
Although I shouldn't really talk like Gears of War is another like Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 are really good. And I remember Gears of War being the first video game where after I beat it, I liked it so much. I'm like, dude, I'm going to play this on a higher difficulty just because I want to keep playing it.
I do not like Gears of War, but this, yeah, I think it's too clunky. There's so many, like, Vanquish came out in this system.
Yeah.
I've
never
Binary
played
Domain came out on the Xbox 360. There are so many fun, fast action games. It blows the mind. And like this was definitely the American console in when did this come out?
Well, 20 years
2005.
ago, 2005.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
2005. Yeah.
And like this is the most 2005 American console that you could possibly have. Like Halo, Gears, and all, it's just like
Borderlands got its start on 360.
Yep.
yeah, there's so much stuff that just came out on 360, and it's just like over the top action. And that's not necessarily my thing. Like when we get to our top 3, you'll see that nothing like that is on there. And I'm looking, it takes until 15 to get to Vanquish. And Halo Reach is on there too.
It's a good game.
But like Halo Reach is the game that got me into Halo. Like I couldn't care less about Halo before Reach. And then I played Reach, and I don't even remember why I played it, but I was like, this is actually amazing. And then I went back and played the other Halo games.
Yeah, and also, okay, so you talk about fast action, like also like arcade racing games. I don't know if anyone else spent as much time playing Burnout Revenge as I did.
Oh, that game rules.
Never touched it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's awesome. So much fun.
And they also tried to come out, they tried to like revitalize arcade racing. It was Split Second.
Oh, yes.
And what was the other one that came out right around the same
Blur?
time? Blur.
Yeah.
Those games are great.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and like it didn't work. It didn't actually get revitalization for like actually good kart racers. I would call Blur a kart racer. And
It is a kart racer though, isn't it?
Yeah, I spent way more time with that than with any like Mario Kart or Sonic All-Stars racers or any of that bullshit. But
Excuse me, both those games kick ass, especially Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. You watch your mouth.
Someone's not a fan of Sonic, if I remember correctly.
no, I'm not a fan of Sonic.
You and every other popular gamer that's like, oh, actually Sonic sucks. And I'm like, actually, you're a douchebag.
I have reasons for not liking Sonic, but that's not what we're talking about. The Sonic games you're not controlling them when they're going fast, and they suck when you're going slow. So it always sucks. Anyway, we're talking about the Xbox 360 where there's no Sonic games.
There were.
There are.
Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 came out on 360.
Okay, that's a Sonic game that actually legit sucks. Most other Sonic games are way over. Most other Sonic games are way overhated, and
You're
really
right, like Sonic 06. That came out in 360 too, right?
Yeah, that also sucks. But also, like, I'm honestly sick of everybody dick riding the Sonic hate train. Pretty annoying.
Is Sonic Adventure bad? Like from what I've seen of Sonic Adventure, I think
fun. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think calling it a game is a bit of a misnomer because from everything I've seen, it sounds like you don't actually do anything in that game.
Sonic Adventure.
The game just plays itself.
What the fuck are you talking
Okay,
about?
let's move away from Sonic. There are Sonic 360 games that are actually good, so I'm pretty sure I own them. But that's not over. Some of the stuff that like make 360. So there's a game that I want to bring up that I kind of mentioned. The Dead Space trilogy comes out on 360.
Yep.
And fucking love that. I love all three of those games. I know 3 is not the best. I fucking love, but that first game, that second game, all 3 I think are amazing.
Well, I mean, in the first Dead Space, like, I mean, to be real, like so many people, like at the time, what made it cool was literally like some of the reasons, like, oh, it's like Resident Evil 4 in space. At the time, people were like, yeah, that's awesome. It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of fun, and it kind of had like the whole Event Horizon vibe to it.
Yes.
Yep.
But I remember Dead Space 2, that's the last one I played. And that game, like that game is actually, it's such a neat escalation where they're like, okay, well, first it was a ship, but what if it's a space station and it's basically a city? What happens then? And like just how crazy it is, and how creepy that game gets when they start getting into the children who get taken over by the necromorphs.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's even parts where they seem to imply that there's a chance that all of it's just in Isaac's head because he's just going insane from the first game, which turns out to not be the case. But like at the time, it's floated here and there where it's like maybe Isaac isn't perceiving things properly. So yeah, it's just I remember that like that game was just, it wasn't just always jump scares. It was just legitimately creepy because it always felt like you were going through an area like 5 minutes after the monsters just came through and killed everyone.
And Kyle, do you have a game you want to mention or a series?
Anyways, well, there's a couple of different things, but to start things off, I do apologize for folks, because you might have heard me talk about this already on of all things, a previous episode of Games My Mom Found, Dead Rising.
Rising.
Dead Rising was my introduction to the 360. I remember before even buying the actual console, I actually had the opportunity. I was very lucky. I was usually pretty lucky with this type of situation. I was able to actually rent a 360. At this time period, there were some really good deals going on with some local video stores of mine, and local video stores, not like Blockbuster or whatever, locally owned video stores that actually had some pretty awesome deals. You could rent a console and 2 controllers and 2 games for actually pretty cheap. And I was like, you know what, I'll give the 360 a shot, see what it feels like. And yeah, holy shit, I was addicted to this fucking game. Dead Rising scratched so many itches of what I wanted in 3D video games. Not only just video games, but 3D video games. A lot of what I've wanted from 3D video games pretty much kind of morphed into sandbox, open sandbox video games, but Dead Rising knew how to sort of rein it in, unlike a lot of modernish sandbox games that just here's a fucking giant-ass world, go walk around and do shit, and here's a million side quests, where, Dead Rising really, really knew how to rein it all in. And, I get why they reined it in, because that's what they could do. They could only give you so much of that type of world to explore and everything in the side missions, where it's weird. I know for a lot of people with, when they kind of play Dead Rising, they tend to think of it as, a flawed game, or oh, I like Dead Rising, but, the controls are kind of shitty, or, the font on the text font is too fucking small. I'm yeah, I agree, it was too fucking small, Jesus Christ. Especially at a time where, hey, Capcom, that was kind of a stupid idea, because, this is 2005. People pretty much won't be getting flat screens, or even plasma screens until, 2007, 2008? So, another couple of years.
Was an issue.
Man, for all the annoying shit Dead Rising did, it fucking does everything else so perfectly, and it's so fun. And, even for some of the things I don't like about Dead Rising, the, George Bush era cynicism, and, this is, Japan's take. This is I don't want to say Japan as a whole, but, this is a very Japanese take on, American rah-rah patriotism and George Bush American patriotism and it's very cynical. And I'm usually not actually a fan of that type of thing. But Dead Rising just worked on so many different levels, and, as, a huge fucking Capcom fanatic, the game also, just won me over. I fell deeply in love with this game, and this game was my introduction to the 360. What a way to start a console. Holy shit. I love this game so damn much. I will play it always. Whatever console this game comes out on, you know what, I'll buy it. I'll buy it again, I'll play it to death, and just fall in love all over again. And yeah, what brought me to the 360 of all games was Dead Rising.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be able to have that many enemies on screen at once.
Yes.
And people talk shit about, oh, well, the time limit. People are so weird about games with time limits.
Yeah, no kidding.
The time limit doesn't really mean anything. Your time limit in that game, yeah, you lose that game, but all of your shit comes over to your next playthrough.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Shut up.
It's, honestly, if anything, the game's teaching you proper time management fucking skills. Hey, don't fuck around too much. Pay attention to your watch. Oh, this person can only be rescued at this time. Okay, good. That means, do some grinding if you want, follow the missions and just pay attention. It's teaching you time management skills. Yeah, that's a good thing.
And when they take that stuff out of it, it makes the game, aimless. It makes the game aimless, and it's not as good.
Oh, totally.
1 and 2, I think, are fantastic.
Oh, totally. Yes. I really hope we can get some type of remakey thing, what they did with the first game, Dead Rising remaster, whatever the hell it's called. It's a million R words. Okay, Capcom, just think of a title. Don't give me like 6 titles all at once. Like if they can do that again with Dead Rising 2, fuck, I'd be so happy. I love Dead Rising 2 so much. Like, oh man,
they're both, and then they started loosening up because people were talking so much shit on it, and then the games weren't as good because the good thing about the game is that tight time limit. And I have a game that I'm going to talk about on my next turn that does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people say that Majora's Mask sucks because of the time limit, but it's the best Zelda game because that stuff really makes you actually care about what you're doing in the game. Like something like Oblivion or Skyrim, is aimless because you can do anything you want at any time.
Oh,
and
totally.
That's fine if you just want to walk around and kill stuff. But like to have a good time management part of your video game, I think enhances, as long as it's done right and your game is fun to play. If Dead Rising would have done a thing where, if you didn't manage your time right, you died, and then you just had to start over, I think that would be one thing. But the fact that you keep your levels, you keep your inventory spaces, you keep all of this stuff, you keep your extra health and stuff, like, that makes the game doable after you lose a round. So it's almost like a roguelike in that way, and I think Dead Rising is perfect the way it is.
Yes, thank you. I very much agree. And honestly, if there's one way I'm going to start talking about the 360, it's always going to be Dead Rising. With Dead Rising with a
game
bullet.
that really, meant a lot to the 360. So
well, I recently replayed the original Dead Rising, just not like the remaster, just like the OG that they put up on the PS Store, along with Dead Rising 2, and Dead Rising 1 holds up really well.
Oh yeah.
It's really neat. I like the story in the original Dead Rising because it's more of like a political thriller.
No, of course.
Than a zombie. I really like that and how it plays out.
Yeah, and for the record too, with Dead Rising 1, I also like the plot, but like I said, I think the game also has a lot of certain things about it. It's a very Japanese look at American patriotism in the Bush era, and it actually managed to stick the landing and do a good job with it. I totally agree with you.
And also it's actually a neat take on zombies, especially even for the time, where it's a different, but like the game itself really isn't even about the zombies.
Mm.
It's really more about the zombies are the situation, more or less.
Yeah.
And the game is basically about how are all these people dealing with it?
Mm-hmm.
Is really what it boils down to. Like all the psychos and all that. Those are cool just to see those things. But also with that, it was kind of weird because I beat Dead Rising 1 again, really liked it, and so I started Dead Rising 2, and doing them back to back like that. Dead Rising 2, it's really weird because they make a bunch of smaller changes to how the game plays to where it's not nearly as tight as the first game.
I get that.
The main guy, it's not Frank, it's the other guy, the biker. Yeah,
Chuck.
He moves noticeably slower at level 1 than Frank does in Dead Rising 1, and it's actually kind of off-putting.
No, I get you.
And in Dead Rising 2, I get that the focus is on making all the custom weapons, but it's a lot of the weapons that you pick up just feel weird in Dead Rising 2. It doesn't seem like they function as well as the stuff in Dead Rising 1 does. So there's just a weird, because in Dead Rising 1 you could have fun, you just run around, grab stuff and throw it at zombies, hit them with it. Dead Rising 2 doing that feels kind of off.
Yeah, because they really wanted you to build the weapon.
Yeah, because they really want you to make stuff.
Yeah, and when you do that, those weapons feel fantastic. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, you can't just grab stuff, but yeah, when you start making weapons, holy cow, some of those weapons are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of them are really cool, but it's just because I'm just starting out, and it feels weird compared to the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ron, do you have any other games you want to mention?
Oh boy. Well, let's see. Here's a game that probably no one remembers. Chrome Hounds.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
I do.
That's the game that's considered actually one of the first casualties of like an online only game, or a game that you can really only experience online, just being shut off and you can't. Well, you could technically play it because you could turn it on and play the tutorial missions, but the actual meat of it is impossible to play anymore because the servers got shut down.
Oh no.
Yeah, but Chrome Hounds is it's a mech combat game, and it's like this fictional war, and it's meant to be like more realistic, where like the mechs, they like move slower and stuff. And when it came out, the point was like you would play online with people and like battle over these territories and stuff, which never really worked out because the game was actually like trying to be realistic to a fault, where it was getting in the way of playing the game and having fun apparently. And also it was a time period when broadband, because when I remember when I got it, like I didn't have ready access to broadband, and you're not playing online games without ready access to broadband. So it's just like, oh, I do these little tutorial missions and then that's it.
Wow, this is a From Software game.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I didn't
It's
play
almost-
this, but
Yeah,
But
it's a game that's just like, it's a neat idea that probably never really, it's one of FromSoft's weird quirky games that happened before Dark Souls.
that's I mean that's what I like about From Software, is that they're not afraid to try
Ooh,
something
different
weird
things.
and different, and if it fails, hey, it fails, and they just move on. But
And
it does look like a slow version of Armored Core.
yeah, it's basically meant to be like a more like quote unquote realistic version of Armored Core, I guess is the best analog, that was just meant to be played online. Like it looks cool, but I could never say I legitimately played it because I played the tutorial missions and they're like, go online, and I'm like, well, I can't do that.
Yeah, it didn't last super long. I had a
does
friend
look
that
cool.
actually did play it for a little bit, and I did hear good things about it.
I will
Yeah.
say it does look cool.
Yeah, it's like it's got cool visuals and it seems like a cool setting, but anyway, since I brought up a From Software game, obviously we have to talk about Dark Souls coming out on the 360.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we were going to talk about it when we got
This
to my
is-
top 3 anyway.
And Dark Souls really was the beginning of like people noticing FromSoft. Like FromSoft existed for a long time. Like they've always had video games out since the PlayStation era, but like Dark Souls really was the beginning of like people like, what the fuck is FromSoft? And they're like, oh shit. And it's like, yeah, it's FromSoft.
Yeah, people.
Yeah, no,
it's the start of people in America noticing.
Well, like my story with Dark Souls is kind of funny because like, a lot of people did, where at first they kind of had to learn how to play Dark Souls and, did that, started enjoying it. But I played the game and like beat it and everything, not realizing at the time that FromSoft was the company that made Kingsfield, which was which I played Kingsfield when I was younger. Like I played that on PS1. And I remember liking it. Like I remember playing it and liking it, but like I was also kind of young and didn't get it. And I was just a guy who ran around and beat up squids. It was great. Oh, and went and chopped up some ants. But I like I played Dark Souls a whole bunch, and I didn't initially make the connection from Dark Souls to Kingsfield. And then when I'm like, From Software made Kingsfield, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, because if you've ever played Kingsfield, there's a clear through line from Kingsfield to Dark Souls. And like in terms of themes and what's going, and like what your, like who your character is, and how you're experiencing the world, it's like Dark Souls is very much a, what if we made a spiritual successor to Kingsfield, but made it third person action instead of this weird janky first person stuff. And then that's Dark Souls, and it's great.
Super underrated game when it first came out.
Dark Souls took some time for people to get on board, because I was one of them.
Same.
Because
I'm one of them too.
Yeah,
Same.
because I
A lot of
remember.
bullshit.
Well, because I remember with me, like I heard people talking about it, and they were like, "Oh, this game's great. It's a bit of a tough game." And I remember when I first sat down with it, I got frustrated. I got super frustrated to the point where I walked away from it. And I remember I walked away from it, but over the next few days I was like, but what if I just like play it some more? What if I check it out some more? So like I sat down with it, and then eventually it clicked.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there it is.
That's how it goes.
For for me to get into the FromSoft games, the Souls games, it took me quite a while to really get into them. It wasn't until Bloodborne and Elden Ring where I was like, oh, now I fucking get this. Like, oh, now I get this. Okay, okay. Like, all right. Oh my god. Okay. Like, it took me so long, but it's like, oh, now I get. Okay, yeah, this is awesome. Now I get this. All right.
I bought Demon Souls when it came out. I bought Dark Souls when it came out. I bought Dark Souls 2 when it came out because I always felt like I wanted to like those games, but it wasn't until Bloodborne came out that it clicked with me. And I think that's the way it goes for a lot of people.
Yeah. There's a game where it just kind of clicks.
Yeah.
Going back, I mean, once it clicked, it really clicked. And Dark Souls 1 is actually my number one for 360 games.
It's an amazing game. Like, I know when I first played it, I didn't like it. Then I got into it and I got to the Gaping Dragon and I couldn't get past him. And then I quit the game for a couple years and then somebody convinced me to pick it up again. I have never played a game the way I played Dark Souls 1 and 2 where I constantly I watched YouTube videos about how to do each area before I did it. I listened to a podcast, Bonfire Side Chat. Like, I was just so obsessed with Dark Souls for a whole month. Like, there was nothing I thought about but Dark Souls. And it's something that I can never do again because I play too many games for a podcast. So it's not an option. I mean, I could play it again, but not to the point to where everything was Dark Souls for at least a month or two. Like, it was just nothing but Dark Souls.
It literally becomes like a lifestyle for you. Like, you eat, breathe, sleep, dream.
Oh, I'll never forget. I went to go meet my wife for lunch and she was at work and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. She's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't get through the fucking Sense Fortress. She's like, really? I'm like, I told you I didn't want to tell you.
But and I your wife just being like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I'm worried about you and you're upset over a video game.
Oh yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
And it was still early in our relationship too, so
oh no.
Because I really like Dark Souls 2. I'm one of those people who's probably a little bit of a contrarian. I think Dark Souls 2 is better than the first Dark Souls. I actually like how that game plays a little bit more. And also, I really think Dark Souls 2 has a it does a lot of really neat stuff with its setting and its story that builds on the first game in a really interesting way, where it goes into because the whole thing of the cycle and whatnot. In Dark Souls 2, there's a whole thing about finding out how King Leoric was trying to break the cycle, and there's all those little like things you can find that show that, and that was always neat, especially when you start doing the new game pluses and you find the souls of the four lords from the first game, and you start seeing those connections. I really like that. Plus, I do think that Dark Souls 2 has some of the best DLC of the series. I do they're really well done, and they're really neat and interesting. I know people talk about how spatially it doesn't really work, where you somehow go up to go to go to a lava fort. But yeah, I'm like, guys, it's a video game. Just whatever. Like,
I also agree that Dark Souls 2 is better than Dark Souls 1, but it's still at the bottom of my list because I think like Bloodborne, Elden Ring, I think are both better. And as far as Dark Souls go, I think 3 is the best one.
Never played 3. I've only ever played 1 and 2, and then 3, and I stopped.
3 is fun. 3 is also the Dark Souls I go back to, and I'm like, I just want to play a Dark Souls game.
Yep.
Because that one is actually like it's got a much smoother like path to getting into it, and just like getting into this flow where you're going through it. So if I'm just like, I just want to like have a Dark Souls game where I can hop on and go through an area and kill a boss, like, yep, Dark Souls 3.
Yep. That's fair.
And yeah, just kind of going off of that, I actually have a game I would also like to bring up, speaking of just, more 360 games, if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right. Well, this one's going to be kind of a little out of left field, but this goes back a little earlier to Xbox Live Arcade and the Xbox sort of live marketplace. This game was just a total addiction for me. I didn't really play this online because it wasn't really an online game, but like you could like talk to friends, on Xbox Live while playing it and everything. I became a big fan of this game. I especially became a big enough fan that, decades later, I would buy the newest version of their game on Steam because I was like, fuck, I loved this game so much. Really cool little indie game from 2006, Marble Blast Ultra. Now, I am already a big fan of Monkey Ball and the Monkey Ball games from Sega. I think they're very fun, great soundtracks, easy controls, fun, easy to understand gameplay, and it's good fun. It's a tight puzzle kind of a game and just good physics-based stuff. And this game scratched that itch for me so much, and I just became fucking just in love. I became so addicted to this game. I played it for hours on 360. This was one of the first things I bought on the Xbox Live Marketplace as well, and God, this game is so good and just so fun. And yes, decades later, I bought this again on Steam as Marble Blast Ultra, and I love playing that game too. And yeah, this is another just Xbox classic for me of this is what I think of when I think of the 360. Just damn good time, fun gameplay, simple controls. I love just how I love how it feels to control the marble and move it around and jump and just do all these puzzles. This is what I like when it comes to 3D games. This is what 3D games are all about for me. Just really just finding creative ways to control things.
All right. Colby, do you have something you want to mention next? I'll mention something that I want to bring up. I'll edit that out. So one thing that was special about this generation, about 360, we actually got Spider-Man games.
Yes.
Remember when we used to get Spider-Man games?
I know.
On a regular basis?
And it wasn't just the Insomniac games for PlayStation. Wow.
It was all those weird and quirky
I never played all of them, but I played most of them. I owned them all. We had Shattered Dimensions, we had Edge of Time, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, Web of Shadows, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man Friend or Foe, which is actually not a terrible game.
Yeah, I mean, I
it's
think
just a beat 'em up.
Yeah, I think the general consensus on all those games is, yeah, those happened.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the Shattered Dimensions is amazing from what I remember. Edge of Time was not as good. But, it's just something that I missed is having Marvel games and just having licensed games in general because they could just pop these out and people bought them.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there's that Iron Man game, Superman.
I own both of them.
Yeah.
I played them.
They're not awful, but they're not great. They're just they're the most whatever games to have ever existed.
Some of the games weren't that great, but then some of them were oh, this is actually really fucking good. Man, you actually find some treasure in the trove of these games.
I mean, Friend or Foe is not a good game, but I remember having fun with it. And to go back to our earlier point, the only reason I stuck with it was achievements. I remember playing a ton of that game for fucking achievements. Web of Shadows, another game that was really something else too at the time, and it just frustrates me because these are locked to to that they're never being re-released. I remember when people were like, "Oh, Activision's releasing Microsoft released an Activision collection of all these Spider-Man games." No, they're not. Not happening.
Yeah,
it was a fake post somebody made that started going viral, and I'm like, "This is come on now." You can tell it was fake just because how many it was. Do you have a game you want to mention or series?
I have I have the game that does the time thing. I think better than I think it does the time thing better than Dead Rising. I bought this game originally because I was broke at the time, and it was a brand new game for $20, and it sent me on an obsession with this weird Japanese crazy person.
Wait, before you say it, BK in your coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
It is Deadly Premonition. I bought it, like I said, because it was $20, and I was like,
Hell
a $20 game, I'm gonna buy it. Deadly Premonition is to this day one of the games that I've played the most. It's so what I appreciate about art in general is not when it's perfect. It's when you can tell that it's exactly what the person who was making it was trying to make. And I don't think any game has ever captured what it's like to be someone who wanted to make something and got a budget of probably way less than you needed, but made that thing anyway. Deadly Premonition looks like crap. It plays kind of bad mostly. It's really weird and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it has a vision and it gives you exactly what that vision is. And I think that is the coolest thing.
Yes.
It's like someone told someone who never saw Twin Peaks. Someone told them about it, and then they made a video game out of what they think Twin Peaks was.
Yes.
And
Well,
it is perfect.
My memory of Deadly Premonition is I remember starting it, and at first I was like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of neat." And then it got to the first scene where he like wakes up in the hotel and like started playing, and for me, the game felt like it just fell apart at that point. And I was like, I'm done with this. So for me, that game just it did not click with me at all. And I never went back to it. I never felt a need to. So
you're missing out on one of
I agree.
one of the most perfectly weird games to
I
have
agree.
ever come out.
I mean, Shadows of the Damned exists.
Shadows of the Damned
That's a
sucks
different
shit.
entire. Shadows, no, it doesn't. But at the same time, Shadows of the Damned is a completely fucking different experience.
It's a completely different thing.
Yeah,
Shadows
like-
of the Damned is an
It's
action
the best
game.
dick joke ever made of a game.
It's a game with only dick jokes in it. That's
And it
also
works
you
the
get
whole
to
way
hear-
through.
You also get to
Hilarious.
hear Steve Bloom do a racially insensitive accent.
Yeah, you can get the gameplay. Plus, also, that's sweary, or that's Suda.
Yeah.
Deadly Premonition is sweary. It's
Yeah.
a different guy making it.
Oh, totally.
Yes, I
And
know.
Larry's a really cool guy too. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook
Sweary.
somehow.
Great.
Yeah,
He's really gone downhill since. I love the shit out of Deadly Premonition so much. Like, I'm a huge Twin Peaks fanatic, and I love everything that game tries to do as a game. And like, I especially think the mystery of the game is also really good. Who ends up being the killer. Like, I'm not gonna say what happens or anything because I don't want to spoil it. I hope somehow people can still play this. Really good mystery. I like the characters. I love Francis York Morgan as a character. He's such a fucking nerd, but he's not a nerd in the way that you think of a nerd. Like the guy, like the fact that the guy like has this, quote unquote imaginary friend, and like he talks like fucking for hours about like B movies and just how good they are and how fun they are and why movies are interesting, and he loves coffee and he loves junk food, and it's like, dude, that's fucking totally me. Like, I talk to bullshit imaginary friends because I'm lonely. I talk about movies. Fucking yeah, like I love that. Just like really good interesting characters and like interesting dialogue and like really really just well-written dialogue too. I think Deadly Premonition is a real flash in the pan, but like, what a flash in the pan. Like, it's lightning in a bottle, and even for all the things that it doesn't do well, it's still so damn charming.
Yeah, it's like fact that you can miss major parts of that game from not like being there on time.
Yep.
And that's so interesting because you can still get through it. It's one of those things where the world is really doing its own thing. The world is not waiting for you. The world is happening and you have to be there. And being a detective, I think that makes, just like how in Dead Rising, that timer is there for a reason. It's not like an artificial thing to put a time crunch on the video game. The timer is there for a reason. And in Deadly Premonition, I think it's perfect because you're a detective. You need to be able to do the stuff that you need to do to figure out what's going on in this mystery. And in order to do that, you have to be a part of this town. And by not being a part of the town, you're making your job a lot harder. So like, I think that Deadly Premonition, with all of its weird quirks, like if you don't shave, you get all scraggly. If you don't change your clothes, they get all stinky. And I don't know that has an actual impact on gameplay. Like, I have a feeling that originally the, like, not changing your clothes, not getting your clothes laundered probably made some people not, like, talk to you, but maybe they couldn't get that programmed in. But like, it's all really cool. And somehow the chase sequences with the raincoat killer, like, they never last too long when you're hiding. Like, everything that you do as far as a video game thing, it all works. And it's all like, it's none of it's frustrating. All of it just is fun to do. I think that game is pretty well perfect. And I think Swery makes a whole ton of like really good games, but this was my introduction to him. And I still think it's my favorite of his games.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I think that, and for a game that came out at $20, you can't beat that value in the Xbox 360.
Oh, totally.
And Kyle.
Well, holy shit, actually, I was thinking of bringing up Deadly Premonition myself, but damn, Colby, man, what a great way to bring that in. Let's see here. I'm gonna have to say, let's see here. I'm gonna have to give, I think this might seem like a bit of a cop-out, but like, this is how I was introduced to this developer. And this was also how I was introduced to a lot of their game series. But I think, especially at the time, this was a fantastic deal, and this was way easier than building a PC gaming rig in the 2000s. I'm gonna have to say the Orange Box. I think using having Half-Life 2, Portal, and Team Fortress 2 just all together. I think just in general, just that was such a fantastic deal. And for what they were at the time, they're pretty good, solid ports. I was introduced to Half-Life. I was introduced to Valve as a company through the Orange Box, and like I fell in love with Portal. I really enjoyed my time with Team Fortress 2, and I don't like team-based shooters, but Team Fortress 2 just kind of clicked with me. And I loved Half-Life, and I loved playing through Half-Life because of Orange Box. And, really discovering Valve as a company through the Orange Box. I think the Orange Box is fantastic. And in fact, this also might seem like a bit of a cop-up, is like, oh, well, it's on this and that too. But this is another kind of a memories-based association with me. I'm gonna go for it anyway, whatever, screw the rules. But Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 for the 360. I have so many memories of online gaming with Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 with my a lot of my friends that I made online through different spots of the internet, and just hanging out together playing Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 on 360. Man, I love those games so much, and I love my memories with those games so much. Just such fun, chaotic gameplay, but easy to understand gameplay. I love the journeys you go on with the Left 4 Dead games, just these big, wide maps, and you're, working as a team together, and you're trying your best to stay alive, and just all the guns and weapons you get. I especially loved in Team Fortress 2. Left 4 Dead 2. Sorry about that. In Left 4 Dead 2, when one of the things that you could get was double pistols, and then you would have infinite ammo for your double pistols, and I loved that being an upgrade in Left 4 Dead 2. I love the Left 4 Dead games so much, and just once again, Valve just absolutely destroying, just nailing everything. Orange Box and Left 4 Dead 2, just fantastic games, just amazing memories. That really spoke of the 360 for me, were those games.
Oh, completely fair.
I don't love co-op. I don't love playing online, but I played a lot of Left 4 Dead 2.
Right?
And always with friends, always talking. We only had one guy who would run away and do his own thing and then get killed, and we would have to go rescue him.
Oh my god.
But I got the gnome achievement playing with a friend, and we did the thing, and I mean, I have Portal tattoos. Portal is like one of the absolute best games I've ever played.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, like that orange box, I think Half-Life 2 is fine. I don't love it as much as like a lot of people do, but the fact that they put out something that had all of those games on it for like regular game price, and and they let people do something as outside of the box as Portal, and just like added it in there, and then and I don't know how you make a co-op game that, like, I know a lot of people who are single player game players, and most of them will be like, except for Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead is kind of universally a multiplayer game that everybody just sort of likes, because it is, you don't have to prestige like you do in like Call of Duty. You don't have to be really good at it, because it's individual campaigns each time. The AI director, how much that actually works, I don't know, but like it does seem to be pretty fair when you're going through those campaigns. The campaigns are nice and short, so you don't have to play for hours and hours. I good call on Left 4 Dead 2. Fantastic games.
Oh yeah.
And something that really did define the 362, like online. We talked about it earlier,
Yes.
but like online multiplayer for shooters, Call of Duty, for example, because I think we have to mention that. Like, how much those define this era. And like, I am not a co-op gamer. I tried to be during the 360 era because I wanted to play games with my friends, but it didn't work out well because I had a child and he didn't sleep. So, and they did not have kids, so it made things very difficult. But like, I mean, that's such a defining thing of this era, is playing co-op games, playing multiplayer fighters, for example. I mean, I feel like, I know there was Xbox Live on the original Xbox, but this is the era when it becomes something special. Like Kyle, earlier you talked about Street Fighter 2, but I mean, how many fighters that we got that came out this gen, like Street Fighter 4, that just, blew it away.
The
like
Dead or Alive games, the Tekken games, Soul Calibur, like playing all those online were just such magical experiences. Like, honestly, like, online gaming is what made me even more of a fighting game fanatic, because like, oh, this is what that feels like. Because, like, sorry, contrary to belief of what a lot of people might think when it comes to, like, older folks, when it comes to, like, people born in, like, the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, like, I actually never really had that many experiences in arcades of, like, people challenging me to games and stuff. Like, I grew up as a young girl, so, like, I was also, taught never to talk to strangers or anything like that. So, like, I never really had those experiences at arcades of, like, just challenging running people to, like, fighting games. Like, that never was a thing for me. Like, I can think of one single time growing up where that happened. But, like, on 360 and PS3 and PS4, but especially 360, and, with a lot of these fighting games, like, that became more of a thing for me. Like, playing online fights with people, like, that was just such, like, its own type of magic. Like, that was just fantastic. Understanding how people play fighting games, and what characters they pick and why they pick them, and like how do they play as them. Like, that just seriously was its own type of magic, and I loved every single second of it. Like, I want to go back to my point of the 360, of like, this was really this felt like such an accessible point of like online gaming, I think, for a lot of people. Like, I feel like 360 was when online gaming really became like mainstream in consoles. Like, yeah, if you were a PC gamer or anything like that, like, you already knew about online gaming for like ages, but like, for console people who just, maybe they just never had a good gaming PC, or they could never afford it, or they didn't know how to get into that whole thing. Like, this was how you got into online gaming, was this.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, and I have a game that I want to mention. Well, one, I set up series of games. We had a bunch of Star Wars games during this time.
Oh,
some were
nice.
good, some were bad, but we got Star Wars Force Unleashed for one of the ones that, like, I mean, and that game was like our Shadows of the Empire for the 360 generation, where they were trying to make it into its own, like, multimedia event. And another thing I kind of miss from this era. I mean, we do get Star Wars games now, but like we got a bunch of just crappy ones too. But at the same time, at least we were getting video games. That's kind of how I look at it with this era.
Who remembers Star Wars Connect?
No, man.
I have it
with Han Solo dancing.
Hey, I have that R2D2 360 hooked up. That's the 360 I still have to this day that I use from time to time.
Oh man, just that song, the I'm Han Solo, which is the one cover thing. Oh man, that
Yes.
like watching that. I actually go and watch that just because it's so funny and it's so bizarre and like it's not bad. It's actually a decent tune, but when you're just hearing it, you're like. It's just like, yeah, it's so, you just have to laugh the whole time where you're seeing Han Solo busting out these dance moves.
Yeah.
And then halfway through, Lando shows up and is like, check out my moves. It's just, I can't help but just like, it's like, if you want a good laugh, just go look it up. It's so funny every time.
I tried playing the game once. Oh, Connect. That's something we should talk about too next, but after I finish my Star Wars talk. Like, we just got some cool games. I mean, it was just nice to be at a time when we didn't know we were near the end of the era where shit just came out. We had Star Wars, Clone Wars, Public Heroes, Star Wars, The Force Unleashed 2, terrible game. Just Star Wars pinball.
Well, okay, and like, I never really played Force Unleashed, but I did kind of like look up some of the lore. And this was kind of back when they were still trying to like stay within the canon of the original films. And to me, now granted, I didn't play the game, so I don't know exactly how everything slots. And most of mine was like, I watched videos about it and read some articles. And like the whole concept of Starkiller was just bizarre. Like, where they're like,
bizarre, but it works.
Yeah, where it's just like Vader had this secret apprentice that like goes rogue, and it's like, okay. It feels like it was a concept that actually got fleshed out properly, at least as a plot and a story in Jedi Fallen Order, where the guy, instead of being a secret Darth Vader apprentice, was like a Padawan that was there and just kind of had to learn things on their own. And it felt like Fallen Order just feels like they took that idea and were like, well, what if we developed it better and made it not be so weird with having random big name cameos because he's a secret this guy or whatnot.
All right, that's a fair way to put it.
I am your like casual Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars, but I'm not like crazy about it. So like when stuff goes off the rails, I'm never like, oh, this shouldn't happen because blah 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 blah. And I think those Force Unleashed games are fun to play. So otherwise, I don't care what it does to the lore of Star Wars. Like, who cares? But
I care.
Star Wars The Force Unleashed is cool as hell. Like the first scene where you're playing as Darth Vader and you're like on Kashyyyk and you're just like tossing Wookiees off of like trees and killing them. It's so fun. That's the first one, right?
Yes, that's the first one. That's the first level.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah. Like using the force powers and the lightning powers, and some of it doesn't work great, like pulling the Star Destroyer down.
That's
like,
shitty.
It's kind of annoying, but it's all like interesting and fun to do. And I think that game is cool as hell.
I do too.
Sorry.
Yes.
Something. One last thing I'd like to mention of like kind of like favorite games and like just sort of like my memories of the 360. One thing I want to kind of put lastly of my side. A company that I was actually introduced to because of the 360, because their games were on it, and like this was also a lucky situation where these were only in a certain region, but you actually could import and play them on an English 360 because of like a very specific reason. I was actually introduced into the world of bullet hell shoot-em-ups or shmups because of 360, because of the Japanese game developer Cave. I was introduced to Cave and bullet hell shmups in general because of a couple of different games they brought out for the 360. I may get some of these titles wrong, my apologies, but I have like a Wikipedia page open and I'm trying to make sure I say these titles right, but Mushihime-sama Futari for the 360. I believe that was a Japanese-only release, but it was made when the release came out on 360 in Japanese. it was also made to play on North American 360s because 360s were region locked, which really fucking sucked. But then again, that was a lot of mainstream consoles. Another shmup that I played a lot of was, I believe this was also brought out on English releases, but Dodonpachi Daiojo, I believe that's one of them. I remember I've played a lot of the Dodonpachi games, and they're some of my favorite cave shmups. And a third game, which I'm a very big fan of, this was actually the first ever English released cave game. Not cave game. Cave has had other English released games before. This was the first of their kind of bullet hell shmups of their games to come out in North America. A game called Death Smiles. In fact, I was so excited about this. I got the physical copy of the game, and I even got the 360 faceplate that came with it too.
I also had the Death Smiles physical that came with
the
faceplate. Yep.
Yes, and I love Death Smiles. I think it's a great shmup, and honestly, I have to really thank the Xbox 360 for getting me into a whole new genre of games. I've always liked shmups, but bullet hell always seemed so scary to me. But once I really started playing it, I was like, oh no, I get this. This is awesome, and it's really thanks to the 360 that I actually really got to play those games, and I got to discover them and play them and really understand them, and that's another just series of memories thanks to the 360 that I will always hold in my heart. And like I said, it's thanks to the 360 that I have these memories and that I got to play these games. And Cave bullet hell shmups. Thank you 360 for giving me the chance to play these, because I love them, and I love Cave and I love their bullet hell games, and I'm so happy I got to play these games. These kick ass, and the 360 made that happen.
And then my dad loves, that's the only video games that he plays are shmups. So
oh man, nice.
we got a lot of those games, and those would be the ones that we would play together. So
that's awesome. Of all the things for a parent to shoot 'em ups, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
We had all the 1942s and the 1943s and the Raidens and everything.
Yes.
But anytime a top down specifically, not so much the side scrollers, but
no, of course,
yeah, when the top downs came down, we would get those and play those. And there was a lot of really good ones on the 360.
Yes, I agree. Just good times. Really great games of that genre on the 360. So many great titles.
Right, and speaking of great titles, I want to talk about the Kinect real quick, because you brought it up earlier, and I had forgotten the Kinect was a thing. Man,
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought Star Wars Kinect up.
Well, Kinect was supposed to be this super cool thing. I actually used to own 2 Kinects.
I remember being excited for it, and then it happened.
Oh, it's fucking awful. I never really got to enjoy them because, like many people, I lived in a small, I didn't have a very big room. So, Kinect, you need space. The funny thing is, by the time I finally got space to have a Kinect, I had zero interest in having a Kinect.
And also, even if you had the space, it still didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because that was the Kinect's biggest problem, is that it just in general didn't really work. It was either the tech wasn't developed a lot, but it was just literally every game. Yeah, even the supposed decent games for it's half the time it just won't register your movements properly, so it's just whatever. You got to deal with it because it doesn't quite work right.
It was a cool idea. I remember the Dragon Ball Z Kinect game. I remember. I bought a lot of Kinect games, but I never actually played any. I always said I was going to get to them one day, and I just never did.
And and it goes back to how it didn't really work because they sold it where it would be where it would be you would just do natural movements and things of that, or things that and it would just work, but it didn't.
No.
And because obviously before the Kinect there were things like iToy and stuff that were just kind of glorified webcams. And people were about that. So with the Kinect, they were kind of well, no, it's more than that. You can, you not only, but it actually will detect, and you can play full games with it. And then it's well, no, you can't, because it doesn't work.
I do have one good Kinect experience. Fruit Ninja. I was trying to play Fruit Ninja on Kinect, and then my son, who was probably 4 at the time, thought it was the coolest thing ever, and he would stand around with me and mess up and hit the bombs.
That's so
Oh, that's cool.
that's
Didn't last long, and I got upset. But also, the game couldn't recognize two of us. It got really confused. It was like, "How are you doing this? This doesn't. No, what are you doing?" So yeah,
That's adorable. Thank you for talking about that. That's
I forgot
so
about that.
cute.
To be honest, brought back an old memory that I didn't expect kind of was there. So yeah, Connect garbage.
I got my first Connect about 3 months ago when
Nice.
when it was in a box outside of our local we have a grocery store that's run by Amish people that I don't know, they just have a box of stuff out front, and I guess people just put it in the box, and then whoever wants to take it can take it. And there was a Connect in the box the last time I went, so I just grabbed it and I hooked it up to my 360. And the only thing that I've been able to do with it was move the interface around, because I don't have any games for it.
There's nothing else you can really do with it anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the local, because I know that our local used game store, the family owned one, has a bin of Xbox 360 games, and I know there's a lot of purple cases in there. For
Oh yeah, they were purple.
So I guess that isn't technically 360 related, but adjacent. Remember how for years you could walk into gaming stores and just find those boxes of 360 games where they're like $3 here, take them.
Yeah,
And
that's not pre-COVID though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously it was, but I swear at least halfway through PS4, you could still walk into any rando store. There'd be here's a bunch of 360 games in a bin or on a shelf. They're real cheap. Please take them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
mine
just
still has that
different gaming era where, for example, GameStop was doing extremely well during this time.
Yeah, and they just it led to that, they just had all this leftover stock. It was always fun going through it, and you'd be like, oh, look at all these sports games for all the random years.
I had done them because achievements. I would just buy them. And then I never played them. And then eventually when I met my now wife, she's like, why do you have all this? And I'm like, I don't really know. And I just dropped them off at a Goodwill and said, here, make them disappear.
Yeah, you just I had to buy it. It's important.
And I paid $1.
Yeah, it's just, but I remember doing it because there was a brief period too where also when you could still go thrifting, sometimes you could find 360 games that were cool and fun games for really cheap, because that was before everyone found, because that was where the resellers really got to it. So that was a fun thing. I remember just bins of rando 360 games all over the place. It was always fun.
Right. I mean, another topic that you just reminded me of, during this era, this was the era when I would love going to GameStop and I would just find tons and tons of cheap random games. There's one, Autobahn Polizei. So I regret I don't have this anymore. It's a German open world game where you're a cop. I bought it for my son who loved police, and you don't get that shit anymore, nor will you ever. It was just this randomest shit, but it was there. Yeah, it's an era that I missed, I didn't miss it. I miss it. I didn't. Yeah,
No,
I was
get
there.
you. Mhm.
Oh, it was just something special. Man, I loved going to GameStop back then and just buying games constantly. I have 5 bookshelves full of 360 games, and I used to have more, but when I left, some of the ones went with my son, and then pretty sure got sold when my son moved out somewhere else. So I ended up losing a bunch of. I bought most of the shit right back.
Yeah. So
now you have a Steam library, and it doesn't take up 5 bookshelves.
Yeah,
I mean, I honestly thought about selling my collection multiple times. I just haven't been able to bring myself to do it.
Well, also the 360 era was when I started actually keeping games, because for a long time, because I didn't have a lot of spare spending money because I was a teenager. I would get money and I would buy a game and I would play it and beat it, and then I would go and trade it in towards a new one. But then what started happening was I'd be like, man, I want to play this game again, but I traded it in. So it was during the 360 era where I stopped doing that and actually really started keeping stuff. And it's just well, might want to go back to it one day. And I do occasionally, not nearly as much as I always thought I would, but I have them all. They're there. And I still have my rando games, and even more random shovelware. Anyone remember Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City?
Yes, that game is
on this
terrible.
podcast, sir.
That is one of my least favorite games I've ever played.
Oh, it's a bad game, but
It's a terrible game.
but I bought it for $4, and I spent 2 hours. Like I spent like an afternoon playing it, hanging out, drinking a bit, and I was like,
God.
you know what? For that amount of money and the enjoyment I got out of it, I was like, that was worth it.
Hey, I've beaten that game more than once and even covered it on this podcast. So hey, that's
Yikes.
more than anybody should. So.
Yeah, no, like it's like I will at no point try and defend. I'm just like, hey man, I got it for cheaper than a meal, and it was just a few hours of mindless shooting in a bad game, whatever. Like
That's fun.
sometimes
Yeah.
you just want some slop, and that game is slop.
This is the era where I started saving my games too. And then like again, like a month ago, I was like, these are just collecting dust now. So I took them all to my local game store. I'm like, I have digital copies of all of these, at least one. And so now I have like 360 games and some PS3 games and a couple of PS4 games. But otherwise, I got rid of all of my physical collection because
I need to do that, and I just can't bring myself. Like I've tried a couple times. I put the games in the car. I was like, I'm gonna go sell these, and I put the games right back in the house. But no, I'm not. I just can't do it.
It makes your life so much nicer.
I know. Like I want to sell my PS2, my 360 collection. Like especially because like most of these 360 games I either own on Steam. Or I literally, like, now that I got emulation to work, what do I need them for?
I like having them. I don't buy just like random stuff anymore. I will generally,
Steam.
Well, Steam is Steam. But I generally like, I have my collection of physical stuff. It's not the biggest. It's not like this overwhelming mass. But like I do have a fair amount of stuff, and I keep it and I play it. I like having the physical stuff. I like actually having it. I do like having the systems to put them in. I have a PS2 hooked up right now that I have games that I occasionally play. And I've got my PS5 and all that stuff. So I mean, I get when someone's like, "Hey, yeah, I got rid of it because I have digital copies." But me, I like having the physical discs. I like being able to do that. So it's probably just me being old man liking having his nostalgic memories. Yeah.
I mean, I want to part with them, but I just can't bring myself to. Partly with my son. When he comes over, he likes to go through my collection and find games to play. And I mean, that's the excuse that I give myself to why they haven't gotten rid of them. But that's not the real reason. I just can't do it. Just like Funko Pops. I have a whole bunch I want to sell, and they're just here.
Well, the Funko Pops, you can just throw those in the garbage. They're problem solved.
I agree.
No.
Damn.
I would sell them.
Sell them for what? The 10 cents you'll get from someone who will pity buy them from you?
No, there's a store that will buy them for $5 for any Funko Pop, just about. So.
Well, geez, wow, that's more than I would give for any Funko Pop.
I mean, I like most of my collection, but there's a few where I'm kind of like, they could go.
But
I have one Funko Pop, and it was given to me as a gift.
I have some that are worth a lot of money, actually.
It's the dude from The Big Lebowski, which I found out is worth like $100.
Some are worth a lot. I have a few that are pretty expensive, and I have a few that are signed too. So that helps right there.
As much as I don't like the design of Funko Pops, like there are actually a few where I'm like, that is kind of cute, and I'm amazed that they thought of like making a figure out of something that isn't like that nerdy. Like, I mean, it is nerdy, but it's also just like, really? Like, there's merchandise of this? What the hell? Like, I don't know, like, so, and I'm worried now that because Funko Pops aren't as like popular as they were, now I'm afraid that all the ones that I would want are probably stupid expensive, and it's like, oh, well, what's the point? Like...
Price, because people are trying to unload them because so many people bought them thinking they could just make money off them.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, it's called the stock market. You don't fucking buy little collectibles, people. Like, Same with games. I mean, 360. I mean, how many people thought like buying games could be investing? Like, I mean, we gone through that. Not really 360.
Comic books and modern comic books and fucking like baseball cards and shit. Like, unless it's something from like the 40s or the 30s or something, it's not going to be worth anything.
Yeah, well, and to actually bring this back to 360, I don't know if it's just me. I also haven't like really looked into this because I was into like retro gaming back in the early 2010s when retro gaming was like your PS1 era.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well, now it obviously includes a 360, And I could be totally wrong because I haven't really delved into it. But to me, it seems like if you're just like, hey, there's some old 360 game I want to find, like there really aren't many of them that people try to like jack up the price on and get it. If it's just like some rando game, you can usually find it like complete in box for like 10 or $20, and you're like, all right, cool.
The only thing I could even think of at all that actually has like jacked up price now, and that's just because like it reviewed
Spider-Man.
terribly. No, that's not the one I was going to say. The one I was going to say because it reviewed terribly, and it's honestly pretty niche in general. Is the Splatterhouse remake that sells?
That's expensive.
Yeah, that is extremely fucking expensive now. Like, it doesn't matter what version, PS3 or 360.
I own that.
Like fuck. Oh,
that's
not like I said, I'm sitting on some money.
Yeah, well, because the Splatterhouse game, I think I might have that. I have to dig through my stuff.
I have it because I'm a big fan of the series, but like,
yeah, and
like I said, like it reviewed terribly, and like it's honestly pretty niche. So like, yeah,
because I played it a bit, and basically, like I remember when I played a bit, it just seemed like really difficult for no reason. Having played the first 3 original Splatterhouses, but I kind of like the stuff that they like. I did like the setting and the presentation of it.
Yeah,
but that's to me what it was like. Kind of surprised it worth that much. Let's see.
The Spider-Man games are also pretty expensive because those haven't been re-released and won't be.
Well, yeah, those are licensed things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are hitting my 2-hour mark, and we could go on this forever. That's how these episodes always work.
Yeah, of course.
But I want to go to our top 3. So if you have any honorable mentions, feel free to bring those up.
Oh, of course.
And then we'll just kind of. So Colby, why don't you lead us in?
I'll put my whole top 25 up in the Discord.
Check out the Discord.
I have a couple in there that I've been on episodes about. So my honorable mentions will be Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Vanquish, and I don't think it gets enough love, but I think the best Pac-Man game is Pac-Man Championship Edition DX.
Oh, hell yeah!
So that is number 16 in my top. I think it's fantastic, but my top 3 is number 3, Deadly Premonition. Number 2 is Rock Band 3. And I kind of keep Rock Band as like just like one thing because you were able to import all of the previous games plus all your DLC into the new ones. So like just Rock Band in general. And then number 1 was Dark Souls. I had Catherine in there. I had Fable 2 in there, but I'll put the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine is such a fun puzzle game.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, a little problematic with some of the ways that it deals with some of the stuff, but
yeah,
I don't think it's like mean about it. I think it's just
I think it's probably just people not doing proper research, and it's just it's really a shame. But like at the same time, for as shitty and problematic as it can be, it's not like the worst of that type of thing. Because like there's saying shit out of stupid ignorance, and then there's like just showing your complete ass and being a bigoted fucking monster. Like, like you can really tell when someone's either just being a bit of an idiot or like, like, oh, well, I heard that blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, God damn it. And then there's like just saying bigoted garbage and just blah, blah, blah. And it's just, like. Yeah.
And Catherine, I don't think is blah, blah, blah.
No. It's a fun ass game. It's a clever puzzle game, and it's really it's Atlas kind of flexing as a developer of just doing weird, interesting shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna play that game on the PlayStation because the controller is set up better for it.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's on
Xbox and you can play it.
No, of course. Like it's like a modern adaptation of like Crazy Climber, like the 1980 arcade game that's like amazing. Like it's like Crazy Climber, but even more like fun and creative things in it. Like it's just it's so damn clever.
Yeah, Catherine rules.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, those are my top 3: Deadly Premonition, Rock Band, and Dark Souls.
Okay, I'm gonna go next. I have one honorable mention, The Saboteur. It's Nazis, it's 1940s, it's French, it's just an awesome open world game. made by the Mercenary guys that then went out of business.
Mhm.
And then my top 3: Batman: Arkham Asylum, the game that really actually got me into Batman.
Oh,
Dead
yeah.
Space 1, and this is my all-time favorite game in the 360 era, even if some people might not agree with me. Alan Wake. I fucking love
Ooh.
this game.
Hell
Alan
yeah.
Wake is cool.
I love it.
And like a lot of people, because Alan Wake is also neat because I mean it definitely has whole like Stephen King vibe
Mhm.
to
Oh, yeah,
it.
just an amazing
But
game for
but
me.
if you're a fan of Stephen King books and any real or Stephen King stories, any real capacity, it goes beyond just like surface level. There's like structural parts of that you're like, oh, this is very much inspired by Stephen King, and like the themes he talks about and how he does things, which is neat when you know it. Um, but thankfully, they do manage to stick to the ending a little bit better than Stephen King typically does in his books.
Yeah,
I just love that game so much.
the story in Alan Wake 1 is great. I just wish it was a more fun game to play.
That you were the guy I was referencing. That doesn't like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty basic, and like you get through 2 combat encounters, and you're like, oh, so this is the combat, but the combat's going to be like the whole game.
That's fine.
It is. It
Yeah.
is the combat the entire game.
That's
Yeah.
fine for me.
So it's just like it's fine, it's serviceable, but it does never really go anywhere. I got
Yeah,
like,
and
Yeah.
I'm a huge Remedy fan. Like I'm on like pretty much all the Remedy episodes except for Alan Wake.
That's because we hadn't met yet, for the record.
Yeah. So I love their games. I just think that one, as far as the gameplay goes, is so boring. But otherwise, it's fantastic. Like the game is fantastic. It's just, really, really, really simply boring as far as the combat goes. And there's way too much of it.
All right, and Ron.
well, I'm gonna go with Dark Souls 2. We talked about that earlier. Eternal Sonata. Talked at length about that earlier. Like I said, it's a niche game, but it's one of those games that I consider very special for what it is. And then I think for my third one, this was mentioned a little bit, but I'm going to go with Fable 2. I played that game a ton, and that game, it has so much charm to it, and that it's so much fun to just run around and listen to all of the offbeat British humor that all the people spew everywhere. And it's super dirty and raunchy too. It's really funny. It's the kind of stuff where once you know what they're talking about, you kind of like, you're shocked that it actually made it into the game. Like how they're just like swearing and making all these super crude sex jokes. It's really funny. But like beyond that, I really I do enjoy the combat in it. I think across the series, at least for Fable 1, 2, and 3, I think Fable 2 really nailed kind of the vibe of what they want to do the best, and being able to flow between different combat styles and develop your character the way they want. And because I get addicted to weird, essentially clicker games, all the literal jobs you can do to earn money in that game, I spent hours and hours doing them.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. Fable 2 actually got me back into like action games because I got away from like most video games for a while. I would play like my favorites, but then like the PS2 era was kind of a blind spot for me for a while. But then we got an Xbox 360 to play Rock Band, and my wife got Fable 2 for Christmas the one year, and I ended up 100%ing it. And yeah, it's a really fun game to play. It's really good to get you back into like the flow of video games. If you're like a lapsed gamer, that's a really good one to get yourself back into it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And Kyle.
Okay, well, before I do my number 3, just a couple quick little runoffs. One other thing, well, I know earlier we were kind of all joking around, but we did mention some like legit titles of the genre, even though like, a lot of people tend to say that, the console's not known for this, but actually another RPG I want to quickly shout out, a great little series. I've always loved these games. I'm a big fan of the developer, and I'm a big fan of the publisher too. From Namco Bandai Games and from Namco Tales Studio, Tales of Vesperia. I love this game. I think it's a great little action RPG. I love the Tales games. I especially love the first couple of like Tales games. Tales of Fantasia on Super Nintendo is a little rough around the edges. I think the PlayStation remake smoothed some things out, but I especially love Symphonia a lot. I love Symphonia. I love Vesperia. just a lot of really good Tales games. I think this game just kicks ass, and I'm so happy that I'm so incredibly thankful and happy that Namco took the risk to bring this out on 360, especially for North America. Like, I'm happy they took that risk, and they really put in the effort for this. Great game, love it a lot, love it to bits. It's so much fun to play, good stuff. And then to go on to really my top 3 to start things off. Sorry, Colby. I love you a lot. You're a great co-host, and I don't mean to rip you off. But I'm also going to add on for my top 3, Deadly Premonition. Yeah, I'm happy one of us brought it up, because, like, I didn't know if I'd bring it up or if you would, or, like, I think... I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to say that we have the same taste, but I think we both just kind of like, we both have this, like, eclecticness to things.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I think we both... Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, and there's... And like, I feel like I feel like it seemed a little bit meaner than probably either of us were trying to be earlier with the Sonic stuff. I think we're both just passionate about what
don't worry
like.
about it. It's just us. It's us fucking being dorks. It's me being a dork.
It was funny.
That's what podcasts are about. It's everybody. It's all of us being fucking dorks and just blah, I love this. I hate this. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then, but anyways, Deadly Premonition. Just God, what a just fucking weird and ambitious game. I mean, it already has things that I loved before, like Twin Peaks. I fucking love Twin Peaks. I love David Lynch. And just you take that, make Twin Peaks a literal video game, and then just like have these charming characters that are just as charming as the original Twin Peaks characters. Have a main character who's this total weird nerd who has very specific things about him and how he acts as a detective and as an FBI agent, and just how he puts things together, and how much he fucking loves B-movies, and hell yeah. And like I said earlier, like, I relate to the character of Francis York Morgan, and I love him as a character, and the fact that he's a main character in a video game is just so odd. But yeah, Deadly Premonition, fucking just kick-ass game. I think Sweary's kind of fallen down as a creator, but I still respect the hell out of his earlier works, especially Deadly Premonition. Good shit. My number 2, this might seem a little odd, because, like, I know this is also on different consoles, but, like, I think this really did get its start. I think this was a big introduction to a lot of different gamers with this subgenre. But Death Smiles for the 360. Yes, that's my number 2. Death Smiles by Cave. I believe this was published in North America by Axis, AKSYS, Axis. I really commend them for bringing that game out. I know it's not a perfect port, but, I'm happy it still got a release over here, and it got a chance, a fighting chance. I love Death Smiles a bunch. I love the Cave shmups. I love Bullet Hell shmups, and I love Death Smiles. Such a kick-ass game. I remember playing this online with a friend of mine who was also obsessed with Cave shmups, and God, we were just fucking having a ball just playing this online together. Great stuff. And of course, folks, my number 1, you probably saw this coming, like, oh God, of course, Kyle, you're gonna pick this. Dead Rising, fuck yeah. This is Capcom firing on all cylinders. It's some of my favorite things about video games. I love the whole, like, a very Japanese look at an American political thriller, of horror thriller thing, of, like, it's a Japanese look and a very North American thing, and I love that. I love when, like, this is a very European look at a Japanese thing, or this is a very Asian look at a European thing. Like, I just love those different types of viewpoints, of a very crunched together viewpoint about a thing, a culture, or just just something. And this game scratches that itch for me so much. And this also just has, the perfect time waster thing of just farting around in a mall and beating the crap out of zombies, and throwing CRT televisions at zombies and watching them just get fucking dominated by them, or throwing giant potted plants at them and watching those things get smashed right on a zombie. And it's always fun and satisfying, and, like, using toys against zombies, and, going to the gun store, because of course it's America, there's a fucking gun store, getting the guns and using them, and just all the fun, cute Capcom fan service shit. I love Dead Rising. this was my introduction to the 360, and man, what an introduction. Just, I love this game to bits, and this was my door opening to the 360, and I'm so happy that it was my introduction. I love you, 360. You have so many damn flaws, but damn it, you have so many incredible games. Thank you, Microsoft. You really nailed it on that generation. You won that war. Like,
too bad they never did that again.
Quote unquote console war. Like, you guys fucking, you won it. You nailed it. And that is me.
All right. And that's everything. So, yeah, you got lots of games, maybe some games you never even heard about, people out there. So we hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to hear more episodes like this, we do a bunch of year-in gaming episodes. We do 3 a year now. We also, I'm going to try to do more anniversaries. Like, so I haven't done many. I've only done one other one years ago. So you'll hear more of these you like this. If you want to, and we also have over 850 episodes of this podcast. We do movies, TV shows, video games, comics, all sorts of content. You can find everything we do on Podbean. You can even search and find all our crazy-ass content. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. Little Dog, vote in our Patreon poll. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. So definitely go check that out. And also $10 more, I will plug your podcast YouTube channel, such as Phoebe Stanton, the Let's Play Princess. You can follow her on YouTube and Twitch. And also check out her podcast, The Nerds of Broadcast, and absolutely the best podcast of Work in Progress with Zach. And Colby's on there too now, talking about the Alien movies, and he covered all the MCU movies. And I had forgotten to say this earlier, but Colby, where can people find you at?
You can find me. We do like an audio sitcom. It's called Jack Billings Presents. There's 3 seasons. We're on the 3rd season. The 2 previous seasons are done, so you can listen to the whole thing. And we're about a year into it now on the new season, and it's really weird. If you're looking for something a little bit different to escape from actual reality, Jack Billings Presents is the place to be.
And you hear me every so often.
Every so often, Mike Albertin is on there. Phoebe's on there. Kyle Gorman's on there. I think that's it for now, but I'll have more people on soon.
I'm always happy for more lines when you get to it. Like playing my character.
It's a very weird character. He's half of Mike plays a guy who got cut in half and then got fused to the bottom half of a goat boy. So he's like a satyr.
Nice.
And Kyle.
Well, you can find me on Blue Sky at Blue Sky chibiufo.bsky.social or chibiufo.bsky.social. And you can find my very own podcast, the Unidentified Flying Obsession Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I talk about a couple of different subjects, mainly just sort of video games and like my favorite video game series. I have little roundtable discussions with some of my friends, and I love those episodes. I'm so happy I got to do them. And I also have a little spin-off series called Video Game Music Love, where I get to nerd out and talk about literally my favorite pieces of video game music, and then I play them. So you get to listen along too. And that is my podcast.
Right, and I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena and Hell Has Fury. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. And please join us on Discord. It's free. We're always having new people join, chat with us. So please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, and rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. That helps me out a lot. I know I said all that wrong, but I'm tired. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.